Welcome back to Nick Talks. Today I've decided to talk about a show that I've enjoyed since my childhood. Being a British child, I watched Octonauts, a show about marine life at all levels of the ocean and the crew who are trying to keep it safe or protect it or whatever. Watch the theme song. Since its development, 4 series of the show have been made in English, with an additional season in Chinese for some reason, and specials and an above sea level spin-off called Above and Beyond. The shows have introduced many interesting creatures to the children, showing the varied lifestyles, environments and dangers that exist for animals in and around the sea. But here and now, I'll be talking about the main characters of the show. Now just by looking at it, you can see that the main characters, members of the Octonauts crew, clearly look more human than the other animals of the show. Despite this, they do often portray features of the animal they are supposed to be. And, as I am an avid fan of non-human characters in media, I wanted to rank the main characters by how much they actually seem like their own species. Of course, I can only do this for characters I've seen enough of, so this will include the main members of the Octonauts, but not the characters from Season 5 or Above and Beyond, which aren't fully released. So to start us off, I have Captain Barnacles, who is obviously a polar bear. Now, many episodes show that he enjoys the cold, but you never see him discuss the warmth, his response to it. He never shows any aversion to it. He's definitely the strongest on the team, but these moments are treated with such a thick layer of cringe that I often don't want to watch them. Episodes about Captain Barnacles' childhood are quite interesting, and they often show kinds of abilities polar bears should have. His sister's children and their growing up showcases a lot of the things polar bears would actually have to teach to their children. So in some ways, it's quite good representation of polar bears, but, the fact that he has to travel around the world is what brings him down to a B ranking. The lieutenant, or lieutenant, however you want to pronounce it, Kwazii, is obviously a cat, and he has very frequent showcasing of playful scenes in the early show, where he plays with balls of wool or other cat toys which you can see spread about his room. So that's a lot of fun. Frequently, he also makes cat sounds, like little meows or whatever you want to call them. His tail often comes into jokes or other kinds of scenes. Often the "you're stepping on my tail" joke, but still, that counts for something. And also he has the cat-like ability to maneuver, be agile and run quite quickly. So that all adds up together. I don't see many downsides to Kwazii's cat portrayal, which is probably because children know what a cat is supposed to act like. Either way, this cements him as our first A ranking. Now, when it comes to Peso, I really have to split this up into 2 different variations, because the way that they treat his species depends massively by episode. So in terms of his better episodes, sometimes they show that he can't run as well as everyone else, because penguins are clearly known to waddle and don't have any visible knees. They do have knees, they're just not very useful. The Great Penguin Race is a great episode, as it shows the high speed in the water and great diving ability that penguins have. It also shows off the fact that they can hold their breath for a long period of time while swimming. Some episodes even show off the kinds of behaviours actual penguins probably would show, even though they don't line up with the shy archetype of Peso, such as jumping off the giant sea spike in the tree lobster episode. There are a small number of times where he even appears to struggle with the heat, but yeah, a small number of times. Because, as I say, while these better episodes may put him in a B rank, there are also the worse episodes. For example, we still don't know what kind of penguin he is, with the chin-strap penguins being introduced in Ring of Fire special being different, and therefore we can't even figure out what kind of penguin he is. Sometimes Peso even wears coats for the cold weather, or doesn't like the idea of swimming in cold water, as if that's not where he lives. The show almost consistently forgets that as a penguin he can hold his breath underwater, and he should be the strongest swimmer on the team. If you look in the caves of Sakapta, they are incredibly worried that he might not have the best helmet, even though he can breathe for that long. We don't have to worry about this. Some episodes even manage to forget that he doesn't have fingers, further than the fact that he can somehow bandage things, with one episode where they're inside a blue whale making him attempt a thumbs up with Captain Barnacles. These worst episodes, which I think can only be represented with Peso wearing a coat, will be ranked at D. Shellington is a sea otter, but the show completely avoids the fact that he should be able to stay underwater without a helmet for quite long, which is made really obvious in the episode where his sister and nephew are shown completely fine without helmets. Quite cutely though, on a rewatch of the show, you can notice that his behaviours surrounding the Vegemals kind of line up with the parenting of his nephew, showing that he is being fatherly to them in a way only sea otters would. So despite the lack of things to talk about here, I think I'll rank Shellington at a B. Tweak is a bunny, but she's green, and so is her dad, for unknown reasons as far as the show is concerned. She has much more hearing than you'd expect from a rabbit, even to the level of echolocation, so that's not exactly representative of her species. She should also seriously start hibernating in some of these episodes. Remember the one where they're in the Antarctic waters and the octopod is freezing over? She doesn't care. So all of this ranks her at a D. Dashi is incredibly hard to rank because there are essentially no references to her being a dog in the show, so much that I didn't even know that was her species. Even though her sister is shown as well, so they had ample opportunity. So she gets a rank C. In terms of Professor Inkling, the show pretends that he doesn't need to be in the water, but also doesn't attempt to give him a helmet in the water, so that kind of evens out. His use of suctions on his tentacles, his ink squirting, and his higher intelligence match with being an octopus, though. And, for bonus points, his species is mentioned, with him being a Dumbo octopus, which, according to the show's own logic, should mean that he doesn't survive in the low pressure of the octopod. I mean, the Siphonophore episode contradicts his entire existence. But if you avoid that and just pretend, oh, it's just show logic, then I guess we can rank him as an A. Now, while I'm not going to rank the Vegemals, I'd just like to give a special mention to them, because while they don't have a real-life counterpart, I would like to point out that their eggs were actually laid on the surface of the octopod, which is similar to how fish really lay their eggs. You'll know this if you have pet fish at home. Also, these things are more durable than any animal should be, surviving very close to lava, being able to breathe in and out of water, never needing protective suits when the others get them, but they are susceptible to some kind of illness which gives them measles-like symptoms. So now that I've got all that done, I'd just like to restate that I really loved this show as a kid and still enjoy it when I watch with my family today. The character dynamics and education is actually great, and I love the fact that the characters are all different animals, as that should be used more often. In fact, this show may have inspired my preference for non-human characters in the first place. Also, on a channel note, sorry about the fact my uploads are so far apart and uncoordinated, but this is not in any way my job, so that is really all that can be expected of me. This is fun, but not my main focus in life. Still, feel free to enjoy whatever content I do get out, or to give me suggestions for things to talk about. I should be getting another video out somewhat soon, so let's all hold out hope for that. Until next time, this has been Nick, and I'd like to talk cartoons again soon.